Waller, also known as CWall from CWall Sports and Entertainment and Bowie Television, checking in with you as you all are so used to seeing me sometimes doing a talk and sharing sports news sitting by myself. But as you all know about me, I get excited when I have someone else here with me. And I am so honored to have Dr. KiKi Baker Barnes with me, the commissioner of the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. This is amazing. Hello, Dr. KiKi Barnes, and how are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here.
Candy, I am so excited to be here with you today. I am actually in the conference room of our home, or I would like to say the GCAC headquarters here in New Orleans, Louisiana. So I'm excited to be here and to talk with you about GCAC and all things HBCU sports.
That is amazing. Now, before we get into talking about your path to commissioner of the conference and all things GCAC, I have to say, you told me a little secret. You told me something about yourself before we got started. Happy birthday to you. You had a birthday just yesterday, and I can thank you for spending your after birthday time with us. I appreciate that.
I'm starting to adopt some of these things I see on social media. Some people say they celebrate the whole month. So I was like, hey, I can extend it a couple of days. So I'm glad to be here.
Yes, awesome. So let's just jump right on in, Dr. Barnes, and share with us your journey. Just tell us about yourself and your journey to the commissioner of the GCAC.
Oh man, let me tell you something. That's a loaded question, but what I'll say it all started with sports participation. I was a high school athlete. I participated in cheer, basketball, and track and field and cross country. And so I actually did those things for fun. It wasn't to get a scholarship. It's so different when I see these young people now, like kids are playing specifically with goals to be in the league. None of those things were my goals. I actually wanted to have friends. So me trying out for the basketball team was because my friends tried out for the basketball team, not because I wanted to. But we wound up being really good. We won some championships. We made it all the way to state our junior and senior year. I wound up being recruited, and I got a scholarship to college. And so I played basketball 2 years at a junior college in Texas. And then I did 2 years at the University of New Orleans. And when I graduated, honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually thought I was going to be a television host, somewhat like yourself. Unfortunately, though, I just didn't have the internships or the experience. And so I wound up getting a call from one of my coaches to come and be a graduate assistant basketball coach. And that literally is what started my career off. And so that first year, I'm just a recent college graduate. I just finished playing basketball, and I could not believe that those young women listened to me. I was like, I just finished playing, and now I have the title of coach. And they really believed in me. And I felt like in that moment was when I realized, like, okay, I've got something here. I think this is a career that could work for me. I would get to inspire young people. And, it kind of went up from there. I became a head coach by 25, so 3 years out of college. I'm a head coach at a junior college. And then eventually worked my way back down to New Orleans to start working on a doctoral program, and wound up joining the staff with Dr. Robin Martin, who at that time was the first Black woman athletic director and women's basketball coach at Dillon University. And so I was her assistant, and then Hurricane Katrina hit. We all got laid off, and I was trying to figure out what was going to be next for me. And so, I'm doing school full time, just kind of trying to figure out what would be my next steps. And Robin, who I shared with you, took another opportunity. And so the university hired me back, and I became athletic director and head women's basketball coach at Dillon University in 2006. And for 7 years after that, I was doing both roles. And in 2013, realized that we weren't going to see the success that I think we could have if I just did one job. So got a new boss, switched the positions, became full-time athletic director from 2013 all the way up until last year, when I stepped down and turned in the keys and became commissioner, first Black woman commissioner of the NAIA and the GCAC, starting June 1 last year, 2022. So it was an amazing journey. Learned a lot of lessons, met a lot of people, failed a lot. I talked to people about, there really is no straight path to what your purpose is. I think you just have to spend the time honing in on the skills that you have and becoming really good at them, so that when the opportunity presents itself, you're prepared to be able to do the job or to fulfill the purpose that you have. And so I definitely feel like I've been on a very purposeful journey, even when I didn't know where I was going.
Dr. Barnes, and I'm inspired hearing you say that and give that advice of honing in on the skills, because you really don't know. It's a multitude of things that we can do. Just listening to your story, I mean, you played a multitude of sports, had various roles, and now here you are as the commissioner. And I'm telling you, I was just going to bring it up because I said if she doesn't say it, then let me go ahead and pop her collar for her. First Black woman commissioner of the GCAC and NAIA.
Yes,
as
ma'am.
of June 1, 2022. And then we're in April, but just last month, February, Black History Month, March, Women's History Month. So talk to us a little bit about what that means for you to be the first Black woman commissioner in the athletic conference.
Oh man, let me tell you something. I will say that I've always been a leader. And one of the things that I've reflected on, because, every Black History Month and every Women's History Month, I'm acknowledged, right? It's real surreal because I'm living life, right? And I'm walking in purpose. So it feels weird sometimes to always be celebrated. I know that probably people are like, oh, but sometimes, because it's like, well, I'm doing what I was prepared to do or what I was led to do. But one of the things it's caused me to do is to reflect on what does it look like for a young person who is trying to figure out what is your next step. I often go back to when I finished playing ball and I was trying to figure out, well, what should I do? I don't know. I know what I wanted to do, but I don't think I'm prepared to do that. And then the opportunity that made sense for the preparation that I did have came along. So, excuse me. So even though I had not been a coach when my coach reached out to me, I was the captain. I was the ambassador for every program I was a part of. Anytime they wanted someone to go speak to young people, I was the person that got that call. Hey, we're going to go and visit this school. KiKi, we want you to come and speak. I remember my freshman year in college, they had this program called SPC Ambassadors. You had to go and interview, and then you get selected. And if you were selected, then when the president had major events or they were hosting corporate people, then you served as a hostess. You'd get a chance to sit at the table with some of the board members or some corporate donor or someone, who was who meant a lot to the institution. That was from freshman year. I became a captain of my junior college team my sophomore year. When I transferred to my 4-year, I became captain there. And so there were all these opportunities throughout my time as an athlete where I was always called on to lead. So even though I didn't have title of coach, okay, I had been put in situations where I was leading, and my coach initially thought about me when she was looking for a young leader for women. So I was totally prepared, even though I didn't realize that these assignments and things that I was being asked to do were all part of this journey. And so the same thing kind of happened when I got in the role of head coach. Now I'm an athletic director. Even as a head coach, I became an ambassador for the university, right? It wasn't just about leading the athletics program, but I speak for the university in somewhat, and I represent them when I'm out on the road. So I remember my first head coaching stint at the age of 25 being asked to go and speak at middle school banquets, high school banquets. You know, I worked with the admissions team, and I said, "Hey, I'm going over here. Can I take some enrollment applications? I can talk to them about the school." So even as a head coach, my profile became to be a lot larger, even though I was just the head coach. Now, I didn't carry the title of athletic director. I carried the title of ambassador. So when they were looking for someone to be an athletic director who hadn't had the title, I could speak to ways that I had represented the institution, not just the athletics program. And so when I'm thinking about and I'm reflecting on like what's happening and where I'm going, some of the things that I'll share with young people is do the work. Take on those assignments, become better. If people keep asking you to do something, they believe in you, and you must have somewhat of a gift for it. So do it and get better at it. Because honestly, what was happening, every opportunity was setting me up for the next one. So in 2010, and this will be my last one, and I want to bring this home, especially for those who are tuning in, I became athletic director in 2006. Now, what I didn't share with you was that during my head coaching opportunity, I was placed over 3 sports out of the 4. I hadn't been an athletic director, but I was leading almost the whole department.
Wow.
So when they were looking for someone to come in and lead the department the department that had been reduced to 3 sports, I was like, well, I haven't been athletic director, but I have managed 3 sports. So even though, again, it didn't appear that I was prepared because I had done this before.
Right.
Step into commissioner role in 2010. We had 6 schools leave the conference. At the meeting when those schools submitted their letters, our business meeting in the fall, where they said, we'll be leaving, we were left with 4 schools. In that meeting, they also voted me president of the conference. And so when I was voted president of the conference, the expectation for me as a leader was that I was going to find some other schools to replace the ones that were leaving so the conference would be sustained. Right. And so for a period of time from 2010, I think to 2017 or 18, I was president of the conference and recruit members. So when we hired another commissioner, we're moving forward. Commissioner was with us for 2 or 3 years, puts in his resignation in 2019, and the president say, hey, can you be the interim? Now, they wouldn't have asked me to be interim if they hadn't seen me lead. And so sometimes opportunities are available for us to show what we can do. Too busy talking about what ain't nobody paying us to do. So what I'll say happened for me was I get these opportunities and I just go in and I get it done. I'm not looking for accolades. I wasn't looking for a title. It was our ship is sinking and we trying to stay above float. And so I raised my hand and I said, I'll help. But what happened was I was being prepared to lead the conference in 2010. I had no idea in 2010, 12 years prior to me being appointed commissioner, that was going to be my next opportunity. I had no idea. I didn't even have a desire. I was trying to go be a D1 athletic director. And I do quotation marks because I have no desire to do that anymore because it's not for my path.
Right.
But when I think about being a trailblazer, and I didn't set out to be a trailblazer. I just was trying to do good work. And it has resulted in these kinds of things, which I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to share. I honestly feel like it's the testimonies. That was kind of the purpose, not even necessarily for me to be a trailblazer, but for people to realize, like, literally, what you desire is waiting for you. You just gotta do the work and prepare yourself so that when the opportunity presents itself, it's a no-brainer.
I mean, you just dropped all kinds of gems just now, Dr. Barnes. I mean, talk about not just motivational and inspirational. You laid out a blueprint just now for how you can really take a look at the skills, take a look at your passions, the things that you just enjoy doing. You just said something a moment ago, and it really resonated with me. And it was, you just want to do good work.
Literally.
It wasn't about the title. It wasn't about, okay, I'm doing this because I want to be X in 5 years, in 10 years, in 12 years. But because others saw you in the leadership position, they saw what you were doing, they saw what you were capable of. Of course, when the position came available, they're voting, they're asking, they came to you. You didn't necessarily have to ask for it.
No. And every opportunity has been that way. I told you my coach called me. She called me when I didn't know. And in each situation, like I didn't know, that's what I wanted, but I was totally prepared. Like I had been preparing for it. I just didn't know it. And so one of the things, it's sometimes it's hard for me to talk about career paths with people because I'm like, well, honestly, I'm walking the walk that God asked me to walk. I'm doing the things that I was asked to do. And as I have aligned with my faith, and I've gotten better in the places where I've been. And one of my favorite sayings from my friend, Dr. Christine Kelly, is bloom where you planted. Just be good where you are. And those opportunities, honestly, they honestly will come to you. And so I want people to be encouraged to be the best that you can be, and don't close yourself into just the title. So another part of this that I didn't talk about, I probably had applied for about 7, 8 athletic director jobs, like at Division I schools, and I didn't get any of those jobs. And I couldn't understand. I was like, well, I know I'm doing good work where I am. Like, you can see the receipts. I have receipts. Why am I not getting that opportunity? And there was a point where, and this was during the COVID 2020, where I had time to reflect. I never really had time to stop. In athletics, we don't stop. We just go and go and go.
Right.
But I had joined a mastermind group. Shout out to Traffic Sales and Profit, Lamar Tyler. He's a marketing small business guru for small Black businesses. And I joined this group, and they kept asking me, well, what's my business? And what's your elevator pitch? And every time they asked me that, all I could say was, I'm the athletic director. And everybody would say, but how do I pay you? What service do you offer? I couldn't define it. And so then I had to take a step back, and I had to start examining who I was and what skills did I bring, not what title did I have. What is it that I have done in the roles? And so when I finally had that breakthrough, and I was now aligned with, I am a builder. I lead and build organizations in transition. Every job I got, the program was either a startup or they were coming back. And I was called in to lead. Southern University Shreveport, my first head coaching job was a rebuild. They had started the program and it took a break. We wanted to bring somebody to revive the program. Athletic director, Dillon University, after it was demolished by Hurricane Katrina, we need somebody to come in and lead and build. GCAC 2010, lead as president. We about to die, lead and build. So then I started realizing, oh, this is who I am and this is what I do. And when I figured that out, then I started realizing, oh, I can do more than be an athletic director. And that's when my mind became more open to being commissioner, because I hadn't even looked at I hadn't even considered the opportunity, even though I was in the role already.
Wow. And then I want to pull the thread a little bit more on what you've been saying about leading and building. You just announced recently, that the University of Virgin Islands will join the GCAC this year.
Yes.
Your staff continues to grow. So what can you talk about, just what you're doing overall to build and lead a strong team in conference overall?
Well, yes, you can't do anything without a team. So let me just share that I haven't accomplished anything without great people. Let me say that one thing. There's not anything that I've accomplished without great people and without a great team. Nothing, nothing. And I'll tell you that our relationship with Urban Edge Network is kind of the catalyst that really helped us put our growth plan on steroids. You also have to have resources. And we didn't have a lot of it. We had membership dues, and that was probably just enough to get my salary. And a couple of other things maybe, but not much. But signing that deal really changed the trajectory of us being able to actually execute on some of the vision that I had put together for the presidents and that they had approved in June. And so we have a great team. We have great partners now. We have our first corporate partner, Hope Credit Union, CEO Bill Bynum. I said he's the hope dealer. He believed in what we were trying to do and understanding the GCAC as a startup. And he made an investment in our institutions and in our conference. And that, of course, has allowed us to have the budget to be able to do some of the things that we've done. And so we've got a couple of things. One is finding resources. That was one strategic pillar, which we've done. I think we're at almost $400 and something thousand raised this year. It's insane. It's insane. Let me say, insane. Okay. And then on the flip side, membership. So Virgin Islands is a part of that. And we have some other schools that we are considering, and we're hoping that we'll consider for membership here in the next year for 24-25. That's where our eyes are turned. But if we're able to pull in those other members, as well as continue to keep consistent revenue flow outside of the membership dues, we are going to be in a very, very strong position. We'll finally be able to put some money aside for, like I would say, an investment fund. So that's the second part of this. Now that we do have revenue, then we have to manage what we have very well. So I think we'll be in position now to start setting up what I would call our emergency fund. What happens if another COVID strikes?
Right.
How will we be able to sustain ourselves? And so that's the other piece of what we're doing for the conference. It's building the infrastructure now, but also putting together a sustainability plan where the conference can continue to grow its assets in a way that we can, we're able to function, and it's not every year we're hoping we're not going to close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And with that being said, can you share a bit more about how people can support the conference overall, HBCU athletics? Are there opportunities for sponsorships and advertising that you all do throughout the year? If so, what are those? And how can people
Absolutely. So, yes. So we are actually in, right now, we've got RFPs out for the basketball championship, volleyball, and I think cross country. But we're looking for corporate partners and the right partners. We don't want money just to have money. It has to make sense for our partner and for us. So we're looking for corporate partners for all of our events. So we'd love to be able to talk with you a little bit about what we're doing, about what our institutional needs look like, and how we can utilize our platform to be able to help those brands expand or get their offers in front of people. If they're looking for the customer, then we have a customer that we can get them in front of. And so if you're interested, you can send an email, commissioner@gcaconf.com, just to share if you're interested, and I'll connect you with our sponsorship partnership director, who kind of does usually the preliminary work to talk about what it looks like, what a potential client is looking to do, and whether or not it makes sense for us to be a partner. But it is so exciting to see funding come to HBCUs. Every problem and ill that we have is related to not having enough money. I mean, we want to build new dorms. That costs money. We need more staff. We need money. So, in my role as commissioner, what I hope we're able to do is that we're able to leverage our partnership on our own network with Urban Edge and to be able to get those dollars that we can get back to our schools in the same way the SEC and the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and all the bigger schools do. They get that money up front. I mean, we've seen the deals that they sign. Every school gets 70 million. Well, I mean, yeah, they can build new facilities and they can hire the best coaches and they can pay out. I mean, give us 70 million. I mean, we could do the same thing. But so that's where we're trying to go. And if my schools can get some infusion of cash, we can do some of the same things we see some of these other schools do. And so that's what I hope we're able to do as a conference. Again, it's not just about the sports programs. It's about elevating our entire institutions and creating an ecosystem where we can sustain ourselves.
That is awesome, Dr. Barnes. Before we head out, we got a couple more minutes, but what are some upcoming events that the conference is doing that you'd like to share before we have to close out?
Thank you so much. So we are going to be hosting our GCAC Track and Field Championship. Shreveport-Bossier Commission is our partner for this one. So we'll be going back close to my home. I'm from a small town called Minden. Minden's about 30 minutes outside of Shreveport. So we're going to be there for the next 3 years, and we're hoping to build. We're also infusing an admissions fair with our championship. So this is one of those kind of creative, collaborative things where if this works out really well, we're hoping to bring enrollment admissions teams to all of our championships, because again, it's not just about the sports, it's about being connected to all of our institutions. So that's happening in this weekend, and then at the end of the week, end of the month, we'll have our final championship for the year, the baseball championship. This is our first year bringing baseball back.
Awesome.
And we have the awesome pleasure to be going back to Jackson, Mississippi. And our partner is the Hank Aaron Sports Academy. How cool is that, right?
Oh, cool. Yes.
Hank Aaron, a staple, a legend in baseball. So to have our baseball championship in alignment with Hank Aaron and the Sports Academy that bears his name, it's just amazing. So we're really excited. Again, this is our first year bringing a baseball championship back since, I think, maybe 2010, maybe. So it's been a while. So we're looking forward to that. And then we get a break. So we get to plan and we take a moment to really reflect, to get good feedback, to figure out what we did well, what we didn't do well, and then start planning for the next program year.
That is so awesome, Dr. Barnes. Thank you so much for joining us and spending the day after your birthday, well, your birthday month, with us. Are you on social media? If so, where should folks follow you? I know you gave your email address a moment ago, but you may want to give that again as well.
Yes, so follow the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference on all platforms at GCAC Sports. And then you can follow me at KiKi Baker Barnes. So it's my full name. I'm on all platforms. I'm at KiKi Baker Barnes. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for dropping all the gems that you did on just overall, career, purpose, pathways forward, as well as sharing all of your knowledge on the GCAC. We'll definitely be keeping in touch. You and I will be keeping in touch for sure, because we want to continue to do this and share with our viewers and listeners all things that's happening with the GCAC. We appreciate you all tuning in. This is Candy Waller again, CWall Sports and Entertainment, Bowie Television, with Dr. KiKi Baker Barnes, the Commissioner of the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. And we thank you all so much for tuning in. Have a good one.